What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. All right, everybody, let's talk a little box office real quick. M3GAN 2.0 and F1 dropped in theaters this weekend. Looks like F1 got the job done at $144 million all over the world. It's an Apple movie, so Apple, even though they spent $300 million on this movie, this is more one of those prestige projects for them. They spent $300 million. They don't care if they get their money back. They care if you're buying iPhones and iMacs and MacBooks and all of that crap, all right? But from what I've heard, F1 is a phenomenal movie. I haven't seen it yet. I plan on watching it later on today. Hopefully it lives up to the billing. Because, look, I'll be honest, man, 2025 has not had a lot of good movies, good bangers to go into the theater and enjoy. I heard people comparing this to Top Gun Maverick, heard folks comparing this to Ford versus Ferrari. So I'm like, okay, I'm looking forward to it. And I'm hoping that it gets the job done. But let's talk about M3GAN, all right? M3GAN 2.0 powers down at $10 million. That's it for the entire opening weekend. $10 million. This is a movie that came out a couple of years ago. You guys might remember the original M3GAN, all right, opened up with, what was it, $30 million, all right? So this thing has been cut in thirds, all right? It's opening weekend, and it made a total of $180 million. I can see why they wanted to make a second M3GAN. You know, this is actually a good number for a movie that probably only cost like $10 million. I'm not even sure what the total budget was. But yeah, I mean, for a movie that cost about maybe $15 million, who knows, to come in at around $180 million worldwide, that's solid. That's very solid, okay? But yeah, apparently right now, this thing is bombing out of control. I mean, good God almighty. M3GAN 2.0, a massive misfire, bombing at the box office. Now, I'm going to give you my theory because I also haven't seen this movie, but I'm going to tell you what I feel is the reason that it's bombing, just strictly off of the advertising and the trailers and the things that we saw about this movie. It doesn't look like it's M3GAN at all. It doesn't look like a sequel to the movie that we watched. It looks like they just went in an absolute, complete different direction, you know? And then when I went and looked at the Wikipedia, they're describing M3GAN 2.0 as a science fiction action film. Well, yeah, that explains it all. The original M3GAN was a slasher movie, all right? It was a slasher, not a sci-fi action film. You know, and that's why it did these numbers, all right? Because it's a slasher. It's a horror movie. And when you decide to depart so far from the genre to go from slasher horror to sci-fi action, yeah, there's no question in the world. People were like, well, this doesn't look like what I remembered M3GAN to be, you know? Yeah, I understand the little meme dance when she was doing the little dance and all that crap. I get that part was a part of the charm and the appeal. And maybe they tried to lean into that a little bit too much instead of just giving us what we got the last time, which was M3GAN. It reminds me a lot of Happy Death Day. I don't know if you guys remember Happy Death Day. Happy Death Day was a cool little interesting slasher, all right? It's a slasher Groundhog's Day. That's basically what Happy Death Day was. And then they went full sci-fi with Happy Death Day 2, which was Happy Death Day to You, I believe. And it made half the money, all right? It was like, all right, it was a cool little gimmick the first time. We enjoyed it. If you leaned into that and tried to go back to the whole Groundhog's Day thing and kept it as a slasher, not trying to go sci-fi with it, then it might work. But they tried to push a science fiction element, and I'm like, that wasn't going to work. And it looks like it hasn't worked at all with M3GAN 2.0 either, all right? Bombing in the box office. Let's go ahead and check it out. Says, hold on to your vaginas. M3GAN 2.0 is turning out to be a massive misfire for Universal Pictures as fans are avoiding it, and the box office is looking like a complete disaster. The first movie, released in 2023, was a surprise hit. It opened to over $30 million and went on to bring in over $180 million. The budget was reported to be only $12 million, so that's a huge success. However, instead of doubling down for whatever reason, I haven't seen the movie myself, the writer says, Universal director Gerard Johnstone and the writers dumped the horror angle from M3GAN 2.0 and turned the sequel into a goofy sci-fi movie. Exactly. I don't understand why you go in that direction. It just doesn't make sense. It's almost like you didn't know or you don't understand why the original M3GAN was popular and why it was good in the first place. Like, why did people go and watch this movie? What made it popular? What made people enjoy the movie? It's like they don't understand the movies that they're making and the effect it has on the audience. Why did the audience even like the movie? You know, because once you tap into that, then you just do that again. Yeah, all right, M3GAN 2.0 is going to be exactly that. We'll make some changes, obviously, to the storyline, but we're pretty much going to try to do the exact same thing the audience liked the first time if we're doing a sequel. That's the whole point of doing a sequel. The point of doing a sequel is to do something close to the original, but a little bit of a different, angle. Maybe a twist, a different story. Maybe you add some new characters. But you don't go for a completely different genre. Again, turn it into a goofy sci-fi movie. I guess maybe they thought people just went because she was doing this stupid dance or whatever. The little girl was doing that little, that little stupid ass dance that, was viral for a minute on TikTok. Yeah, how's that working out now? Stop listening to social media and TikTok and viral this and that. Make movies. That's the problem. These guys. I think that's it. I think that's it right there. They thought that little viral dance and all of that bullshit, that's the reason why this movie was popular. And if we just lean into that, we'll make more money. We'll have a big hit on our hands. Instead of actually just making a good movie. Just make a good movie, you guys. You'll be fine. Golly. Yeah, again, just leaning into that viral shit. Social media is not real life. I guarantee you that's what they thought. What happened? I could tell when I watched the first trailer that M3GAN 2.0 was in trouble, as apparently M3GAN gets an adult body and fights another AI who looks like an adult human. It was all about upgrades. M3GAN becoming the good guy and becoming friends with the humans as they apparently battle the new upgraded AI, Amelia. It looks to be a lot different than the original, which drew fans into theater. See, again, that's true. All of that stuff, what he just said, it's completely different. The creators, they locked into all of the social media bullshit. They locked into that. That's why they made the movie they made. If they said, you know what, let's lean into the story elements that actually people enjoyed about M3GAN, the horror, all right, the slasher elements, I think it would have been a whole lot better. Again, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't really say. But from everything I've heard, they didn't do that, So I don't know. And it might be a good movie, but it's not going to attract an audience. An audience is not coming to watch M3GAN 2.0, clearly. And it's because it's not what M3GAN was. M3GAN was a slasher horror. This is sci-fi action. Yeah, completely different genres. And the horror crowd, like that teenager horror group, there's a lot of teenagers that like to go watch horror movies. And so these little PG-13 horror movies, they work for those guys. But they didn't do it this time. And now they're seeing the results. Yeah, and then I guess this is the chick that's supposed to be like the villain or whatever. Shit, this doesn't look horror. I don't get horror out of this at all. All right. If they were going to go in this direction, make her look like a horrific. Beat up, scar, half faces, like fucked up hair. She looks beautiful. People are going out there, oh man, I'll smash this shit right here, bro. I'll smash this all day. You got to make her look fucked up and weird. And then, give her like half an arm and, a big saw blade or whatever. You got to do something different. You can't give her this shit. Like, this looks too attractive. Yeah, so people ain't going for it. Box office well under the first movie. So check this out. The first M3GAN had Thursday previews of $2.75 million. That's without anyone having watched the movie or other than the trailers. M3GAN 2.0, 1.5. So that tells me fans hated what they saw in the trailer. Again, it was obvious from that trailer that this wasn't going to make no bread. Let's also add that M3GAN is super popular at Universal Horror Night events and has become a TikTok sensation, yet fans aren't showing up again. Again, huge misfire. Well, again, look, Universal Horror Night, not sci-fi night. All right? It's horror night. You got to lean into horror. Why did they go with a sci-fi angle? I have no idea. As a result, the Thursday previews tanking opening weekend box office for M3GAN 2.0 are now only 20 million at best. It's not going to hit 20. All right. And now they've dropped to a disastrous $10 million opening weekend. Wow. Wow. Yeah. And then look at this. What the fuck? Like, why would you go from that original M3GAN concept to this? This is horrible. Horrible. Let's see what happened. I've seen this before. It's my guess that with the success of the first movie, the creators got more money, budget reported to be $25 million, and instead of sticking with what works, decided to go bigger, which again is misfiring with the fans. They don't want to see a good guy M3GAN with all this upgraded tech. Yeah, this looks terrible, man. This looks absolutely god-awful. This also seems to be reflected in the Rotten Tomatoes scores from critics, which is currently at 58% compared to the first film's 93% rating. Wow. So the original had a 93%? Yeah, 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. All right. The critics loved it. Audiences gave it a 78%. And then I looked over here at M3GAN 2.0, 58% from the critics, 84% from the audience. So the audience seems to like it a little bit more. Yeah, but again, calling it horror, yeah, this is bullshit. All right. This is bullshit. Again, from everything that I've seen, I haven't seen the movie, so I guess I really can't say for sure. But everything that I've seen, it's been called this. It's been a sci-fi action movie. Look, you got they call sci-fi action, and there they got Stallone in there. This is the wrong crowd. All right, the absolute wrong crowd coming to watch M3GAN. All right, I didn't like the look of this thing at all. I didn't think it was horror. It didn't look good. All right, she was supposed to be a murder bot. And yeah, I guess there's some fun you could have with turning a murder bot, you know, and rewiring it to be for good and go up and fight against another murder bot. That could be a thing, but it's still not horror. That's still sci-fi. And maybe you do that with M3GAN 5.0. You know, you do that like 5 sequels in. But the next sequel to this movie should have been an absolute horror movie. It should have been exactly like the first one. Hollywood, bro, I'm telling you, they are so disconnected from their audiences. This is the big takeaway, folks. They are disconnected from the audiences that have made their movies popular. And again, M3GAN, the original M3GAN, did this, $180 million. This thing will be lucky to probably get to, well, shit, I don't know what's going to do internationally, but it probably going to be lucky to get to 100. It'll be very lucky to get to 100 and make its money back. But anyway, we'll see. You guys let me know what y'all think. Did you see M3GAN? Did you enjoy M3GAN? You know, I probably will watch it just because I'm curious now and because I got the pass and I got, like, you know, a couple of movies I need to burn up since I already saw Jurassic World. I'll probably go and check it out. But to me, it's just like, this is the problem with Hollywood. They just cannot connect with their audiences anymore, even on popular things. They just don't know why these movies are popular. They make something, it hits. They're like, shit, why did it hit? Why is this good? I don't know. Well, let's just go ahead and make something, slap a 2.0 on it and hope for the best. And yeah, now we're getting an absolute box office bomb. It's too hilarious. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. Jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.